Hello, welcome back to episode 179 of the Guardian Project podcast, and I am recording in the trenches. Andy.
And I put the OC in Golden Argosy. Mike Coyle.
Please listen carefully.
And this is the podcast about Commander.
Our favorite Magic the Gathering format. And today we are bringing back something we have not talked about in about 8 weeks. We're going to talk about your favorite commanders and their signature spells. So yeah, about 8 weeks ago, we went up on Twitter and we talked we asked you what your favorite commanders are and the signature spells for those. We got a huge response. In fact, we couldn't cover
We didn't
them
even
all.
get through half of them, I don't think.
Yeah, we might not get through all of them today, but we're going to try. And so here's our round two.
Yeah, round two. Before we do that, though, I didn't do much magicking over the past week because it's been all about Pokemon.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Pokemon out there.
In my life. Listen, okay, so I got it on Friday, and I think I played it nonstop Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Nice.
And I finished all three of the storylines. I enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. I want to give it a while to explain why I took those 2 points off. And it's not just the meme glitches, which are hilarious, by the way, just looking at them.
Yeah, they really are.
But I had some thoughts. But I do like that we got to play the gyms out of order. Yeah. And that's cool. I did the gym. When you look at them, there's like a list of gyms and like their levels. And like what you would naturally consider like gym 1 and then gym 8.
When you say look at, is that list available in the game or like when you look online?
No, you have to look online. So I only did it after I'd already finished the game.
Okay.
So I didn't know this existed.
Gotcha.
And I learned that gym number 1 that I did was actually like gym number 3.
Yep.
And then I went back and I did gym number 2 second, which in my opinion, I did that in the right order because it was second. I just didn't do number 1 first.
Oh, that's true.
So I only did 1 out of order. Number 3 and number 1 flipped, and then the rest I just naturally progressed through the game in the order that it was like this is what you would have done. And I was like,
perfect.
I thought I was going against the grain. I thought I was no, I didn't. But I started out with my little gay duck.
That's right. Quaxley.
And I won the challenges.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday too.
Oh my gosh, it was last week. Okay, I became a champion 2 minutes before my birthday hit. No, it was very fun. You started out with the fire
Florigato. I started.
Oh, you started with the cat.
I started with the cat.
Oh, I thought you did Fuecoco.
No, Fuecoco. My girlfriend got Fuecoco. Named it Potato.
So cute.
Very cute.
I love it. I am not a nicknamer. No.
Also not a nicknamer.
Never nickname.
So
never nickname club.
I have my final evolution of my cat now. Meowscarade, I think is the name of it. It has a really good move called Flower Trick. I don't know if it's a signature move. I assume it is because it got the move as soon as it went there. It's like 80 power, 100 accuracy, automatic critical hit.
Nice.
It's really cool stuff.
Mine had a water move that every time you use it, you increase your speed.
That's good.
So I was going first. It's pretty cool.
Unless the other person has a quick claw. You never know.
Yeah. Who knows? But I had a fun time just playing Pokemon all weekend.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've only put in about 15 hours into the game though.
And I put in more than that.
But I also explore a lot.
I am going to play. So I played Scarlet. We both played Scarlet.
Yes, we did.
I would like to play Violet. And I'm going to play differently because there's I used a Jumpluff and an Azumarill. So I know there's a lot of people who are like, I would never use a Pokemon that came out in Johto or whatever forever ago. And I was just like, I'm going to do this. And I had a full plan on using like 4 Gyarados, a Magikarp in my starter.
I remember that.
And there was there were a lot of cool new things. So I played through, but I want to play with all new on the next one.
See, I had not played since, this is just real quick, I had not played since Gen 3. It's my first time playing a 3D Pokemon. And there was Pokemon I was catching where I'm like, oh yeah, brand new. Pretty sure they're Gen 4 Pokemon, and I just had no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of old Pokemon
There
in the
really
game
is.
still. A ton. Wow, Gen 3, that's Ruby Sapphire, right?
Yeah, 2D.
Wow.
Well, technically Leaf Green Fire Red, which is a Gen 1 remake at the same time that Gen 3 was made. So it's considered Gen 3.
This weekend, though, I did also get my 30th anniversary Secret Lair countdown kit.
Very cool.
And without going into all the cards, because there's still a lot of people that are opening them, so I don't want to spoil everything here. I did open a foil Chromox. So I opened... I did look it up, and it was the most expensive card in foil that you could get. It's like $150. I was like, holy
Nice.
moly.
Could buy more 30th anniversary.
I'm going to go get another kit. I'm going to go back to the store, get another kit, paid for it. Listen, it's like Tellurian Community College box opening, but we're just going to do it with the Boost Box show. We're going to do it with that. No, so I like it. I was very pleasantly surprised to see all the art in front of me. It looks different when it's on a computer.
Yeah.
Like, when you physically have it in your hand, but it makes me want to play with some of the cards that we got in there. And you finally got oh my gosh, it's been like the meme secret layer of the year.
Yeah, the heads I win, tails you lose. Commander deck secret layer finally came in today for me. So we're recording on a Tuesday. So this is November 22nd. It came in for me, and I actually waited till I got here in the studio to open it up so we can both look at the cards together. And very pretty. Half the deck's foil, half the deck's not.
Did we know it was half foil?
I didn't, but also I ordered it a year ago and I don't remember.
So I have a Zinder's Blood and Okan deck, and I didn't purchase it because I was like, I already have all these cards. And I was like, I'll just pick up the foils, as singles. And then it was like the meme of it's never getting delivered. And I was like, maybe I'm not going to, because when they arrive, no one's going to sell them.
Oh, maybe.
Because they waited so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I find them out. But if they're really expensive, I already have the pre-release date stamp Zinder's Blood and Okan.
Right.
Those ones are pretty cool. I don't have a foil Clark's thumb. Like there's good stuff for that deck.
And they're double-sided and foil. Those ones.
Double-sided and foil's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just entirely read past that one, I guess, just because I was like, I already have this.
You have the
I don't
deck
need
already.
these cards.
I was looking at Clark's thumb because I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a coin flip deck, and Clark's other thumb because dice rolling and stuff, and that was my main appeal. But I'm gonna have a whole deck now. I think I am gonna keep it as a deck, sleeve it up
as Gavin's version.
Might as well.
Nice.
Maybe I'll foil out the half that's not foil.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, why not?
Because foil's great.
Foil's great.
Everybody who's here, thank you so much for listening to us. We appreciate you coming back every single week, and especially all of our patrons. We really appreciate you. If you're not a patron and you want to become one, you can head over to patreon.com/guardianprojectpod and donate for any dollar amount.
And if you want to support us in any other way or an additional way, wherever you are enjoying the podcast on now, if you could subscribe, rate, review, leave comments, hit the follow or the like button, we would really appreciate it. You can also find us online on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter while it lasts. You can find us by searching Guardian Project Podcast on Google, and you can even email us at guardianprojectpod@gmail.com.
We are also now on Hive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's like the new thing. Everybody from Magic was just like, we're going over here. So I was like, well, I guess I should secure our name. So we actually got Guardian Project over on Hive. Wow. Look at us, early adopters. Not that early, but early enough.
Eat your heart out other Guardian projects.
Yeah, exactly. If you're the Guardian Project on Twitter that has the actual name, you're not getting it on Hive.
Boom.
Because we already got it.
Unless someone pays to get a blue check mark on Hive or something and they boot us off of there.
Oh gosh, you can pay me though. If you want our name and you want to give me many dollars, I can be bought.
Yeah, easily.
You want, I'll just, that's fine. I'll go to Guardian Pod. All right. I mean, everybody knows me by it.
This is an announcement that Guardian Pod is for sale. We have low standard. No, we have high standards.
Well, we want to make sure that we go over all of these signature decks and signature cards. So just like Pokemon, gotta cover them all. All right, about 2 months ago, that's when we had an episode. If you want to check it out, I think that was episode 171.
Correct.
Covering your favorite commanders and signature cards from the deck, and then just discussing them for a bit. And I couldn't believe that we couldn't go through all of them at the time. It seemed like not that long of a list. And then when we put it onto our agenda and our overview, I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot of these.
There's a lot.
So last time I talked about my signature deck, Noyandar. And Mike talked about his signature deck, which was Abzan tokens. And we're just going to continue down the list, going over user and listener submitted decks. So the first one here is from Adam_B_West, who sent in Jace Vryn's Prodigy Commander. And the signature card is the Chain Veil.
That makes sense.
It's pretty good. So it is specifically a Jace themed commander deck. So Jace's Prodigy is a 0/2 human wizard for 1 and a blue. It has tap, draw a card, and then you discard a card. And then if there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, you exile Jace Vryn's Prodigy and return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. So this is one of the Legends cards that is, but essentially ignites the flip legendaries, the flip planeswalkers, and it becomes Jace, Telepath Unbound, 5 loyalty with 3 abilities. You can untap one target creature. Up to one target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn, or -3. You may cast target instant or sorcery from your graveyard this turn. If that card be put into a graveyard this turn, exile it. Or -9, which I've never seen happen in all these years. It says you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, target opponent puts the top 5 cards in their library into their graveyard.
Which would still be pretty difficult to mill someone out in Commander with that. 5 cards at a time. I mean, unless you're storming off or something, I guess that could work.
You just use Magecraft and copy and cast many triggers. I don't know. And then the Chain Veil is very good. Legendary artifact for 4 mana. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't activate a loyalty of a planeswalker this turn, you lose 2 life. Which is funny. I've literally never seen that come up because it's always played, and I've never seen somebody not have a planeswalker to activate. But
I've seen people get board wiped or something, and then they won't be able to activate it. But no one knows that text is there. I had to remind them. You need to lose life, actually.
Oh, they wiped the planeswalkers?
Yeah, it
was like an Elder Spell or something.
Something like that.
And they had out Chain Veil. And then it also has pay 4 and tap it for each planeswalker you control. You can activate their loyalty abilities this turn, as though they had not been activated before. So you're just doubling your planeswalker activations. Yeah. Jace is cool. I like this card. I purchased one of them in foil because I at one point thought I might build that deck. It was one of those. It was great in my head, and then I started purchasing cards, and I was like, "Don't do that. Hold on. Let's think about this."
Honestly, I don't think it would be that bad. I mean,
I think it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the Jace Planeswalkers. 11 other Jace Planeswalkers that you can play in this mono blue version. I think when people think of mono blue Planeswalkers, mono blue Super Friends, honestly, it's the Tezzerettes, I think, that are the mean ones and the hard to get over. I mean, Jace is going to reduce your creature's power over and over, maybe bounce things over and over. And Chain Veil is going to do a lot of work here with all of these other Jaces that we have, assuming that they're in the deck, the other 11 Jaces.
I assume all of them are here, and some of them are like Planeswalker decks too. Like the Jace Arcane Strategist came specifically from like the War of the Spark. I think Jace Ingenious Mind Mage was also from an Ixalan, like pre-con Planeswalker deck. They're just cool.
Yeah.
They're just cool.
I just want to see Deep Close Gate and Jace Cunning Castaway so that you can have an infinite number of Jaces on the battlefield, because
get your infinite Jaces.
You should have more Jace. That's more Jace, please. More Jace. So we have our next signature commander and signature spell here from the Saint Chris, SNT Chris on Twitter. Said they have a Braids Arisen Nightmare deck where their signature card is actually in the command zone. Braids Arisen Nightmare.
Listen, I loved it. And you know what? When you know, you're like, sure. This card is the reason I built the deck. And I don't care what else I put in here.
Yeah.
It's because this commander.
And it is acceptable. I was thinking of like, are there other situations where I would go like, no, wait, but you have to like my signature card in my Aloro deck is my Aloro. It's like, okay, give me a basic land at least in that thing, please. But here,
wow, sick burn on Aloro players.
You have to burn them. They're gaining 2 life every single turn. Okay, so Braids Arisen Nightmare for 3 mana, 1 black. You get a 3/3 legendary creature Nightmare. This is a very recent printing from Dominaria United. It says at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. So you can play wide, play with all the different permanent types, and just pick the one that's less plentiful on the field, guarantee some card draw, or force some opponents to have to make some pretty cool choices.
I've played against this card twice now. It was very good, way better. I underestimated this. I was like, I don't like this card. And I think I said it just like Waluigi, just like that. I don't like this. Also how Winnie, my cat, the black and white cat that some of you may have seen, that's how she meows. It's like,
just like Waluigi.
So just like Waluigi.
Interesting.
I've seen this card. Just the player goes, I'm gonna sack a land. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
I am not going to sack a land. So I'm gonna lose 2 life, and you're gonna draw a card. And it worked.
Yeah.
It was doing the thing.
You resolve your Crypt Gas on the next turn, and all of a sudden you still have more mana than everybody else in your mono black deck, despite you sacrificing a land.
Despite sacking a land, you Yeah, it's a lot. It's very good. The next one here comes from Adrian R 464-22741, and their commander is Brea Ethereum Shaper, and their signature card is Master Transmuter. So Brea is a 4-color card from the Commander 16 precon, a 4/4 human for white, blue, black, red. And it says, when Brea enters, you get 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creatures with flying. And it has pay 2, sack 2 artifacts, and you choose one of these 3 abilities. You can have Brea deal 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. You can have target creature get -4/-4 until end of turn, or you can gain 5 life. And I think I almost always see it do the target creature gets -4/-4 till end of turn.
Yeah.
Because it's a monster and doesn't want me to keep my commanders usually.
That's true.
And the signature card is Master Transmuter, a 1/2 human artificer for 3 and a blue. And it has pay a blue and tap it. Return target artifact you control to its owner's hand. You may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. So Brea likes artifacts. You can return one of those little Thops that you made because they're an artifact and it doesn't matter. You can put a better artifact from your hand onto the battlefield.
I can only imagine a couple better artifacts actually better than a 1/1 flying blue Thopter.
Listen, not many.
Not like Blightsteel Colossus, maybe.
Ooh, that's a good one. Darksteel Forge.
I like Darksteel Forge.
That's a good one. I like that. Maybe you want to put out a Skull Clamp. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't cost that much. Mirror Battlesphere.
Literally anything that costs more than 1 blue mana, and we're netting positive from the Masters of Transmuter.
But if we're gonna go for it, we ought to go for it. You know, like Thopter Assembly. Okay. That one's really good. Beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than Thopter Assembly, you return it to your hand and make 5 colors Thopters. I mean, you start doing things.
A brand new Phyrexian portal that forces everyone to sacrifice 3 creatures and then turns into kind of a Throne of the God Pharaoh for you later. Or not Throne of the God Pharaoh. God Pharaoh's Gift, GPG.
Maybe a Worm Coil engine.
I would say.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it meme. Yeah, Brea's good. Master Transmuter. Also great.
I'm glad that Ariok Salvagers and Lion's Eye Diamond was not your signature cards for Brea. Shaper, so thank you for that. Next up, we have someone that actually matched. If you listened to episode 171 and you heard my signature spell, this is my same signature spell, actually. So this is Zeotora the Incinerator as the commander. Zeotora is coming to us from New Capenna. This is a Demon Dragon 6/6 for 3 black, red, and green. So in the Jund colors, you get a flyer that says at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zeotora the Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. Now, the signature spell for this deck is Arachnogenesis. Arachnogenesis is a fog spell for 2 and a green to get an instant. It says put X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach onto the battlefield, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. So they said that they're this came from @Nick Apsey. Sorry, I did forget to say your name. Thank you so much for the submission. So Nick said that they're usually sacrificing a creature each turn, but they tend to have mana for Arachnogenesis. So it's been helpful as they don't usually have a big board presence.
That kind of makes sense with Zeotora. If you're playing big things to fling them away, you're not going to keep a ton of stuff out.
Yeah, it's the exact same problem that I have in my current Jund deck, my Henzi Toolbox Tori deck. It's put a creature out, it has haste because it has blitz, swing with it, and it dies. And I only ever have Henzi really on the battlefield. So yeah, it makes sense. Help you go wide, 1 fog spell, keep it till late game. No one sees it coming either because you wouldn't expect it in a Zeotora deck, but yeah, works out really well.
Yeah. And if you're looking to add a little combo, play like Malignus or something. It's really, really good. We've talked about it before. We enjoy that card. The next one is from Tapped Out Tez, who sent in Kaikar Wind's Fury, and the signature card is Mercadia's Downfall. So an instant for 2 and a red. Mercadia's Downfall says attacking creatures get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of non-basic lands defending player controls. And Kaikar Wind's Fury is a 3/3 bird wizard for 1 and blue, red, white, and says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. And then you can also sack a spirit and you can get 1 red mana. So this is a card I had never ever heard of. So I didn't know Mercadia's Downfall was a card. And I feel like it's a really good, like, sneaky alternative to like Shared Animosity, which is a really good card that I play in my Elementals deck. And I also run it in the Locust God, which is just, I won't say it's a Locust deck, but it's a Locust deck, which is really funny to say. But Shared Animosity is an enchantment for 2 and a red. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a type with it. So this feels like that, but I like this card being instant speed.
Yeah.
And I find that when I play against, honestly, when I play against you and folks that play 3 and 4 and 5 color decks, you're not playing basics. No. So this is going to get, like, if this is on turn 5, right? And let's say someone even ramped.
Oh, yeah.
Giving all my attacking creatures potentially +5, 6, or 7 at instant speed, and you didn't see it coming, actually just ends the game.
For sure.
It just ends the game. And I feel like I need to add this to my Locust God deck because I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, it's I don't disagree with you. It's really good. And like you said, you don't see it coming because it's at instant speed. It's not a permanent that's on the battlefield that people know is going to hit you.
Yeah, like Shared Animosity, they're going to remove. This card is also only $1.70. So I mean, like, this is a very affordable card that's going to knock somebody out of the game when they least expect it. I swing with these 7 bugs. Oops, they're all +7 now.
I guess catch-22. If you're playing this because it's a cheaper card and the people you're playing with are also playing budget brews, they might not be playing as many non-basic lands in their decks, so it might not be as effective against a budget brew than it would against a more expensive brew.
I would play it.
You still play it anywhere.
I would.
Don't play it during Mono Red October, maybe.
Listen, my mono decks probably run at least 15 to 20 non-basics because that's the best time to do it. You only need 1 or 2 red mana, and the rest should all be ghost towns and demolition fields and strip mines, and
even Torbrand only needs 3 red. It's okay to run some colorless mana.
Inventor's Fair. I'm getting them all. I love non-basics.
Yeah,
I also do really love basics.
Yeah, hey, but you play back to basics in 1 deck.
I play back to basics. I think it's only in 1 deck, and I don't feel bad running it out anymore at all. I used to go, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know. Don't get greedy. That's what I say when I play it. And because you decided to run 1 basic in your deck, get wrecked.
Last time I saw I was playing a precon. I didn't have any choice.
Yeah, tapped out Tez. Tapped out Tez. Thank you so much for sending this in. I think this is a real winner.
It's really good. Yeah. The next one I think is also, not that I don't think any of them are not really good, but this next one I also particularly like. This is coming from Derek Dear Reader on Twitter. Their signature or their favorite commander is their Squee the Immortal deck. So Squee the Immortal for 1 red. You get a 2/1 legendary creature goblin. It says you may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. Well, that's pretty cool, but I bet you never heard of this next card because I sure didn't. It's City of Shadows.
I had not seen it until this.
So this is a land that has the ability to tap and exile a creature you control to put a storage counter on City of Shadows, and another ability that says tap and add a colorless for each storage counter on City of Shadows. So you can cast Squee from exile, and if you have the mana to recast Squee, or that's your game plan, recasting Squee and constantly getting Squee back on the battlefield to trigger your Perforos or whatever triggers you're doing to deal damage. Maybe this is the perfect thing.
And you're constantly getting storage counters. And then if you can proliferate storage counters and you can just get a ton of mana. The downside, though, is this card is from the dark and is $108.
That is
City of Shadows is kind of expansive. Okay, it's clearly on the reserve list.
if you're one of the rare players that plays MTGO Commander, hey, it's only 8 cents worth of ticks on MTGO, so you can get it there.
Yeah, this one I had never seen. I think that's actually a really cool strategy.
It's very cool.
I've never heard of this card before.
I hope you already own City of Shadows because you're probably not picking one up at this point.
Yeah, probably not. I'm not sure. It's wildly cross commander like compatible. Not every deck wants it.
No, not everyone. But every Squee the Immortal deck.
Every Squee the Immortal deck definitely does. Okay. Lo-Fi Vibes says that their favorite commander is Sethron, Hurloon General, and the best card is Deathbellow Warcry. And as a fellow Sethron player, I can say you are absolutely correct.
Confirmed.
I'm glad that this is your signature card. It is wonderful. So Sethron is a 4/4 Minotaur Warrior from Jumpstart. 3 red, and it says whenever it or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield under your control, you make a 2/3 red Minotaur creature token. So play a Minotaur, get a Minotaur. And then it has pay 2 and then hybrid Rakdos, so black or red. And you get Minotaurs you control, get +1/+0, and menace and haste until end of turn. So that ability is really great. They threw a lot into it. And then Deathbellow Warcry is a commander card this is the first time we had seen like the commander cards that were put into like set boosters and stuff. So Deathbellow Warcry came out with Theros Beyond Death, but it's not like in draft packs.
Right.
And it says, search your library for up to 4 Minotaur creature cards with different names, put them onto the battlefield, and then shuffle. And that costs 5 red, so 8 mana. So Sethron Hurloon General is going to play a bunch of cards that have a lot of red pips. And I say this because one of the cards you're probably going to grab is Fanatic of Mogus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is like, it's a pretty powerful way to like end the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Fanatic of Mogus is a 4/2 Minotaur Shaman for 3 and a red. And it says when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion to red. So it counts all the red little pips on all of your cards. So you grab like Fanatic of Mogus, maybe a Neheb Dreadhorde Champion. I usually, if I don't have it, I grab, in my opinion, the best Lord, which is like Kragma Warcaller.
Oh, sure.
It says creatures you control, Minotaur creatures you control have haste, and whenever they attack, they get +2/+0 until end of turn. So that's really good. And then you could pair it with really any other Lord if you want. Neheb the Worthy is kind of cool because it says other Minotaurs have first strike, so it actually just makes it more difficult to block. Mm-hmm. Or if maybe you have some mana, like you need some mana or something, you grab like Neheb the Eternal, because at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you get red for each life your opponent's lost. So that's a really good one because your opponents are already losing life from just the Fanatic coming in with the different. So there's a lot of cool combinations you can grab to do a lot of damage. But Deathbellow Warcry does some work. Now you have to get to the 8 mana in Sethron, and I will say that sometimes I struggle though because like, well, if you get board wiped and you're not really doing anything else, and but you also have a lot of reanimate effects for like that Voyage card. Oh gosh, the Black Voyage card.
I know what you're
it returns
about.
Creatures, and if you cast it, it's really good. There's a lot of things you can do with Sethron. Thank you for sending that in because I don't play my Sethron deck that often. And I think I've only been able to play Deathbellow Warcry like just a handful. I probably can count the number of times on one hand. Mm-hmm. It's really good each time.
I know we did talk about how this one was printed in Theros Beyond Death. It was printed into Standard in Theros Beyond Death.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, so it is legal in Pioneer and Modern. I know I saw some decks back in the day where people were running that like 4 mana spell that adds 7 or 8 red mana to your mana pool, but then you can only cast one more spell afterward. It's like someone holding a sword up above their head or something like that. They were using that in combination with Deathbellow Warcry in Modern. It must have been MTG Goldfish on some brew that he was trying to make work, but using in combination with like an enchantment like Conspiracy, where you can override all of your creature types in your deck, which is in black. It's 5 black enchantment. You could find any creature you want in your whole deck. I don't know, do you run any non-minotaurs in your deck? Do you run like Treasonous Ogre for mana, or no, nothing like that?
No, we've talked about this. I gotta stay on theme at all times. Okay, I couldn't cut
changelings.
I couldn't cut. No, I'm cool. I'm cool with changelings.
Okay.
Changelings,
especially the bull, because that's half a minotaur basically.
Yeah, Taurine Mauler. Yeah. You gotta do that one. No, but there are some decks where it's like, oh, I want to play this tribe, but there's only like a few of them, so I need to get a few more. So go with changelings. I don't have any more, I don't think, in my human deck other than Mirror Entity.
Sure.
And that's
a good one.
That's a good, but it's not, we deviate sometimes. It's just hard, but Sethron's a cool deck. I like playing against it and with it.
Very cool. Next we have from the user on Twitter, AN Magic Card. They said that their favorite commander is Loris of the Dream Den, one of the companion cards from Ikoria. Loris of the Dream Den, still legal in Commander, but not much elsewhere. For 1 hybrid black-white, you get a 3/2 legendary creature Cat Nightmare. It has the companion text, but since it's a commander, that doesn't matter. It also has lifelink and the ability during each of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. And the signature spell for this is one of those permanents that is that mana value that is probably going to be in your graveyard.
They did send this in and said this is also just heaps of preference in my choice because there's obviously other cards in the deck. But listen, someone was going to get us to read it on our show, and I think it took just over 3 years now.
It's fine. For $1,300, you can add this one card to your Loris of the Dream Den deck called Chains of Mistopheles. For 1 and a black, you get an enchantment that says if a player would draw a card, except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, that player discards a card instead. If the player discards a card in this way, they draw a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, they mill a card. Seems fine.
Yeah, Chains of Mephistopheles just seems, there's just so many words.
I don't know if that's how the actual card reads. I just read Scryfall. I read because Scryfall, if any of the text is actually different on the actual card, I just read Scryfall. I hope Scryfall. They interpret better.
Yeah, it's different because the original printing has a lot of different text mill now. But I have seen a full flow chart for this card before. It's like, what does this really do? I'm pretty sure that was Charlotte from the CAG who had created that at one point. I don't own it, and I don't know if I'd ever play with it. But if someone played it against me, I'd have to read it a few times. Loris and Chains of Mephistopheles.
It's cool.
Combo I didn't expect to receive.
Sure. I mean, it's like Chains doesn't go to the graveyard by itself or anything. So I guess we're assuming that people don't want Chains out and they're going to remove it, and which is true. People don't want Chains out. It doesn't ever let you really go positive when drawing cards. So you want Chains gone.
All right. Next is from Stephen R441-20433, who sent in Kothafed, Soul Herder, and Boneyard Parlay with a note that says they don't really have anything to do with each other. They just love mono black decks a lot, and it's all really just good stuff that everyone has fun with.
Amen.
So Kothafed, Soul Herder is a 6/6 demon for 4 black. And it has flying. And it says whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So that's great. Sack a treasure, I'm going to lose life and draw a card. It's whatever. It's great.
Sure.
I love it. And then Boneyard Parlay is a sorcery for 5 black. And it says exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield under your control, and the rest into their owner's graveyards. So, 5 target creature cards. That's it. You just need to have 5 creatures in graveyards, and then an opponent separates them. It's kind of like a Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction reanimate.
It's true.
It's wonderful. I've never seen Boneyard Parlay played. I don't play it anywhere. But
I have it in a couple budget decks. It is 7 mana at sorcery speed. It's a lot to invest. It's probably going to be your entire turn when you do it, but it has to be a big enough spell to present a big enough threat to potentially win the game, at least in my decks where I'm on turn 7. I'm trying to close games out, or at least present a board state that can help close a game out. So I do have it in my Oscar deck, my unsleeved Oscar deck.
Unsleeved Oscar, yeah. Kothafed's cool. You get style points for playing Kothafed.
I'm surprised that every Kothafed's favorite or signature spell isn't Feed the Swarm to target your opponent's Smothering Tithe, which is going to kill you. But at the same time,
still the best Reddit post that I have ever read, that Kothafed is unplayable because of Smothering Tithe. I get it. If you can't pay for every single Smothering Tithe trigger, they do make a treasure, and you do draw a card and lose a life, and then they make another treasure, and they can keep sacking it, and the cycle continues, and that's crazy. But you know what? You went out in style.
You did. Why not? And you got to draw 39 cards before dying, so who cares? Next up, we have from Mark Ewing Jr. on Twitter Their favorite commander is Yarlock of Scorched Thrash. This one from Commander Legends. We have another Jund commander here for 1 black, red, and a green. You get a 4/4 Viashino Shaman with Vigilance. It says a player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life. So mana burn is in play for everybody. Also has an activated ability of pay 1 and tap. Each player adds Jund to their mana pool, black, red, and green. The signature spell for this is actually going to be Overabundance, an enchantment from Invasion. For 1, a red and a green, you can have an enchantment that says whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 additional mana to their mana pool of the same type, and Overabundance deals 1 damage to them. So you're already trying to make people take damage from having unspent mana. Now when they spend their mana just at normal speed, they're also going to be taking damage. This is said to be part of a group hug deck, but they wanted to make it Jund, so group hug, and you're hugging them with thorns or spikes or something on your chest, so it's going to hurt a little bit. I like the adding an extra mana every time it gets tapped. A lot of times your opponents aren't going to have even mana casting costs. They're going to have an odd number of mana to spend, and they're at least going to have 1 left at the end of their phase, or maybe they're going to have 1 left at the end of each of their phases as their turn goes on, and we'll just take 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. It could be really good incremental stuff.
Yeah, they said, I want to play group hug, but we're going to make it Jund.
Gotta make it Jund them out, as they say.
As they say. Next is from Lock Arc.
What did you say?
Doc Ock. Lock Arc. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lock Arc, for sending this in. It is Miriam, Sentinel Worm, and Energy Tap. And their comment says, play dragon, get dragon, tap dragon, play dragon, get more dragon. So let's read this, because after I read it, I go, this is really great. So Miriam, Sentinel Worm, 6/6 flying, ward 2 dragon spirit for 3 green, blue, red. And it says whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. And Energy Tap is a sorcery for 1 blue mana. It says tap target creature you control, add an amount of colorless mana equal to that creature's casting cost to your mana pool. So you can tap a dragon that you have. You're going to get a bunch of colorless mana. You can play a dragon. Miriam is going to make a copy of that dragon if it's legendary. It's pretty good. It's really good. That it gets you mana. It really just nets you mana almost, depending on the the dragon, I guess, that comes out, right? Because you could tap a dragon that has more mana than the one that you're casting. Mm-hmm. So you kind of save some mana there.
And if you have ways of turning the colorless mana into mana of any color or something, start casting.
Energy Tap's really, I've never heard of this card either. It's very cool. A way to use mana more efficiently. Like use a creature who doesn't have haste, right? Because it doesn't matter. It just says tap it.
Taps it, right? It doesn't give the creature an ability or anything.
Right. So Miriam's, unless you're making a token that has haste, you're like, I don't care. I'll play that dragon out. I'll tap that dragon that's maybe 6 mana or 7 mana or whatever, and then I'm gonna play another spell because I have the mana for it.
Of course. I mean, there's even some. I think the blue dragon orb lets you cast a dragon spell at flash speed or something like that. I mean, there's flash speed dragons out there and stuff, so that you can do it all on the opponent's turn right before yours. They're tapped on your opponent's turn, but now they're untapped on yours. Swing to win.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool.
All right, from user random_crit. We have a Boros deck here with mono white on the face, Archangel Avacyn, which is one of these transform cards from Shadows over Innistrad. So Archangel Avacyn is a legendary creature, angel with flash for 3 white. You get a 4/4, flying and vigilance. When Archangel Avacyn enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Really nice to have that at flash speed. And then whenever a non-angel creature you control dies, we transform Archangel Avacyn at the beginning of the next upkeep into Avacyn the Purifier. This side is red, but doesn't have any red casting costs or anything. But in terms of commander color identity, it is red on the backside. So you get a 6/5 flying. It says whenever this creature transformed into Avacyn the Purifier, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. In combination with their signature spell, we have Ardent Elementalist. This is a human shaman from, again, an Innistrad, but latest Innistrad deck, not Crimson Vow, but Midnight Hunt. For 3 and a red, you get a 2/1 human shaman. It says when Ardent Elementalist enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is very reminiscent of Archaeomancer or Archaeomancer in mono blue, but this one is a shaman instead of a wizard. I know I run this in my mono red shamans deck, but it's cool to see a like Boros ability to return instants and sorceries for a spell slinger or a blink type of deck is specifically what we're looking at. I know Revolutionist came out in Modern Horizons 2, which is actually a human wizard. Don't know if the creature type matters or not, but Revolutionist for 6 mana is doing exactly the same thing for a 3/3 body and has Madness for 3 and a red. So if your Boros deck does play some of the draw and discard cards, maybe you could take advantage of the Madness on Revolutionist and play both of them in your deck.
Yeah, I like the idea of just ephemerating constantly.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, because they said they're here to generate blink value, so it's like, all right, go to town. They're good.
But ephemerate doesn't go to the graveyard right away. Darn. I have to cast it twice before it goes to the graveyard.
Oops, I guess I'll deal with it. All right, Jason17 said their favorite deck is the first deck that they ever built, Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons, and the best card in their deck is Blowfly Infestation. Hapatra, another deck that I've run. I really like this deck. A 2/2 human cleric for black and green. It says whenever Hapatra deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. And whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. And Blowfly Infestation is an enchantment for 2 and a black that says whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. So we're playing around with -1/-1 counters. Blowfly Infestation is a pretty notable combo card in Hapatra decks. If you're playing Hapatra and Blowfly Infestation and then like any sort of Blood Artist trigger or Zulaport Cutthroat, or if you're running there's Obelisk Spider, a 1/4 spider. But essentially it's whenever a creature like you control dies, or just it depends on what it is, but it could be any creature, depending on which card you pair with these. You can have opponents lose life and you gain life. So essentially, what you're looking to do here is kill one of your snakes with a -1/-1 counter. The Blood Artist would trigger, right? So someone loses life, you gain a life. And then a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it died. So you get to put a -1/-1 counter on another creature. Hapatra sees a -1/-1 counter being put onto a creature. So you're going to make a snake. So essentially you're going to make snakes and you're going to kill the same snake and you can loop it to the point where your opponents just lose. Super cool combo. I really don't think it's been a while. That deck came apart, I feel like, in 2020 now. I don't think I ever really got to pull that one off. Patra just did the work that I needed to do anyway, and I usually won with Triumph of the Horde just because I made so many snakes. But Blowfly Infestation is very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
I have seen it go off in like a Yawgmoth Thran Physician deck. I did run this card in my Scorpion God deck that cared about -1/-1 counters. Combos very well with the card Nest of Scarabs, enchantment from Amonkhet. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create that many 1/1 black insect creature tokens. So essentially doing the same thing that Hapatra is doing, but on a mono black enchantment, not tied to your commander. It is nice to have it in the command.
Yeah, it's cool. Blowfly Infestation and Hapatra. Another what I feel like is like a throwback combo. Yeah. So cool.
Really cool. All right, this next one is a combo that I feel personally attacked. Well, no, I've been personally attacked.
Yeah, and it was by me. And it was insert the meme of I want Cersei to know it was me.
Yeah.
That's me here.
But in a different in a totally different way. But I really like this combo. This is coming from SF Chrono, their favorite commander is Lathril, Blade of the Elves. And Lathril came to us from, again, the Call Time, but from the commander deck in Call Time. Lathril, Blade of the Elves for 2, a black and a green. You get a 2/3 legendary creature, Elf Noble with Menace. This is whenever Lathril, Blade of the Elves deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. It also has the ability to tap and then tap 10 untapped elves you control to have each opponent lose 10 life and you gain 10 life. Now, when you have 10 elves and Lathril on the battlefield, you can play this signature card, not spell, the land, Glacial Chasm. Glacial Chasm is a land with a cumulative upkeep to pay 2 life. This is whenever Glacial Chasm enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice a land. Creatures you control can't attack. This is a pretty bad land so far. But then there's this last piece of text that says prevent all damage that would be dealt to you.
Oh my gosh, it's a pretty good land.
That's a really good land all of a sudden. So obviously Glacial Chasm is not going to allow you to attack with Lathril. So once you get your 10 elves, then that's when you would want to put your Glacial Chasm down, prevent all damage coming to you. You don't need to attack anymore. Now you just have to combo with your Lathril, activate it 4 times, kill everyone on the board. I like it in a way to close out the game. I hope your particular pod isn't afraid of playing some land destruction.
Everybody should have 1 or 2.
A couple. Yeah.
It's totally fine. So, Mike ran into it. He was playing a deck against me, and I don't even know what deck I had the Glacial Chasm in. I don't even remember. Nope, I do.
Yeah, Windgrace.
It was Lord Windgrace, and I really did not like my Lord Windgrace deck. I think it was just a learning experience for me to figure out what I did and didn't like, and I was playing it with reanimating and lands like Glacial Chasm, where I was like, all right, bring it back, and then on my turn, I would just sack it and then bring it back. So I never had to pay for that cumulative upkeep trigger. And it was an experience. Oh, you were playing green-white elves.
Probably. Oh, yeah, with Risk the Redeemed.
Risk the Redeemed. And you had lost your ways to remove lands, and there were other things that were out. And you were like, hold on. I'm going to look through my deck real quick, and if I have no answer, I'm done. And I remember you're like, I'm done. There's like 60 cards left, and we're drawing 1 per turn.
Don't worry. That was before Generous Gift was printed.
Yes.
Generous Gift, great. Generous Gift, Beast Within was probably the 1 card that I had. Honestly, that could hit a land.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it. But
so Mike's been scarred from Glacial Chasm. SF Chrono, thank you for bringing that back.
Yeah,
it was great.
Thanks for bringing the nightmares.
It was great. All right, next one is from Stupid Sexy Ian, and they brought us an Uncommander Baron von Count. And the signature card is Zulaport Enforcer. So Baron von Count, really cool. I have seen this played before, and this is one of the cards that I actually knew because I got to see it referenced.
Okay.
Baron von Count is a 3/3 human villain for 1 black and a red. It enters with a Doom counter set to 5. Whenever you cast a spell with the indicated numeral in its mana cost text box, power, or toughness, move the Doom counter 1 numeral to the left. So if it's at a 5, it goes to 4. 4 goes to 3, whatever. Then it says when the Doom counter moves from 1, so you remove the last one, destroy target player, and then put the Doom counter back to 5. So the card is Zulaport Enforcer, a human warrior for 1 black mana. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the card because of the level up. So level up, it has the number 4, and then it is a 1/1. On levels 1 and 2, it becomes a 3/3. And then on level 3, it's a 5/5. So it references 1, 2, because 2 is in the text box for the level 1 and 2. 3 as level 3, 4 in the level up requirement to go up, and then it is a 5/5.
Yeah. It's perfect.
It's perfect. It is it meets all the Doom counter requirements. Super cool. Super cool. And I don't know how many other like weird niche cards would fit that.
None. That would be cool if there was none.
But I do like it a lot.
Yeah,
I do like it.
If you have your own Baron von Count deck and there is another card that meets all those criteria, please let us know. In the next combo from Average Fish. Average Fish I'm sure you're a very above average person. We have the favorite commander deck combination partners of Akroma, Vision of Ixidor, and Kamal, Heart of Kroza. So Akroma, Vision of Ixidor for 5 white, you get a legendary creature Angel 6/6 with flying, first strike, vigilance, and trample. It says at the beginning of each combat until end of turn, each other creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has flying, +1/+1 if it has first strike, and so on for double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, protection, reach, trample, vigilance, and partner. Partnered with Akroma, we have Kamal, Heart of Kroza. For 6 green, you get a 5/5 legendary creature, Human Druid. This is the beginning of combat. On your turn, creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. For 1 and a green, until end of turn, target land you control becomes a 1/1 elemental creature with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. It's still a land. And the signature card here is an enchantment called Spider Silk Armor. For 2 and a green, you get an enchantment that says creatures you control get +0/+1 and have reach. So just it's like the one keyword that's kind of missing from Akroma.
No, it includes reach on Akroma.
But Akroma doesn't have reach itself.
Flying, first strike, vision strike.
Reach definitely counts as the +1/+1.
Heck yes.
And you're going to give everything reach. Your 1/1 elementals that Kamal is making your lands into are actually going to be 1/2s with reach. So you got Spider. You basically
you're like, this is just a wall. This is just a wall. Like I've built a wall of huge. Commander and stuff. I love it. It's just great.
Yeah, really, really big stuff. And I'm glad Spider Silk Armor found a place outside of Dalsum decks. Because Dalsum cares about creatures with reach.
Oh, that's right. That's why there's like weird spiders that are attacking in it. Yes. I was like, what is happening in this deck? All right. Okay, this one next here is J. Boveda. Okay, J. Boveda, I think is how this is pronounced. Their favorite commander is Marisol the Pretender, and their best card is Phyrexian Devourer. So Marisol the Pretender is a 4/4 human wizard for 1 blue, black, red. And it says when it enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand or graveyard, and you put a cage counter on it. Marisol the Pretender has all activated abilities. Of all cards you own in exile with cage counters on them, you may activate each of those abilities once each turn. And that combos here with Phyrexian Devourer, a 1/1 artifact creature construct for 6 mana, but we're probably never going to ever play it. It's probably just going to leave your hand and maybe you mill it or discard it. And then it's going to, and it says, when its power is equal to 7 or greater, you have to sacrifice it. And you remove the top card of your library from the game, put X +1/+1 counters on Phyrexian Devourer, where X is the removed card's converted mana costs. So if its power is 7 or more, you have to sack it. So what you do is you remove a card, you add the counters to Marisol. And then Marisol doesn't have the clause of having to be sacked because it's not a Phyrexian Devourer. It has its activated abilities. So you're going to go ahead and just exile till you get whatever it is that you want. Marisol to the desired power toughness. And you can do some commander damage. I haven't seen I haven't seen Marisol played in a long time. And I think it's just because of probably in my assumption, is the repetitive nature of what Marisol can do. But it's pretty cool, and it does require a lot of brain power. It's one of those, we've sat down and we go, I don't want my brain to melt, so I'm going to just play
zombies.
Sometimes zombies even I have 6 lords. I'm going to go ahead and play my +1/+1 counters deck, and it turns sideways, and if it doesn't do anything, it doesn't do anything. That's a pretty good one. Marisol's such a cool commander. I like you choosing Phyrexian Devourer. I play it as a combo in Jahzzar.
Yes, if you are staring at the card Phyrexian Devourer and wondering why Marisol doesn't sacrifice itself, because it does say at the end of the activated ability, if Phyrexian Devourer's power is 7 or greater, sacrifice it. The text, the Scryfall text, or whatever you want to call the Gatherer text on there, doesn't have that sacrifice ability on the activated ability anymore. It is just a triggered ability that happens and is only stated once on the card from now on.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. Okay, we're only Oh my gosh. I think we only got about halfway. So we're probably going to have another episode in a couple weeks. But
so.
do one more, Mike. Who do we have next?
All right. Next, we have Totes Mick Goats MTG, not to be confused with Totes Muggoats MTG, a very well-known MTG person on Twitter. I'm making all this up as I go. Favorite commander deck is...
Oh, man, we believed you, too.
I know, right? Northern the Way. Honestly, Totes Muggoats, follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. Totes Mick Goats, same deal. Northern the Wary, a mono red commander here. For 1 red, we get a 2/1 legendary creature, Human Warrior. This is when a player plays a spell or a creature attacks, remove Northern the Wary from the game, return it to play under its owner's control at end of turn. And the signature spell for this deck is Genesis Chamber. Very, very cool card. For 2 generic mana, you get an artifact that says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, that creature's controller creates a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token.
It's
Get some
perfect.
free tokens.
You're just getting a ton of free tokens. Norrin's going to bounce out. It's going to come right back. Not right back, but it's going to show up next turn. You know, it's going to show up every turn. Norrin's like, what up?
What up?
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. I'm scared. It's
Okay,
too
bye.
scary.
This is too much.
Situation's too much for me.
Too
I gotta
much.
go.
Not a fan of this, but I'll be right back. But I'm going to bring a friend every time. I'm going to bring
Absolutely.
one friend with me, and eventually I will still be too scared.
Yes.
But my friends will take you down.
And also everyone else gets a +1. This is an effect that does affect everybody. So everyone's going to get those mirror. Hopefully you are the deck is built around these 2 cards for McGoat over
Yeah,
here.
I mean the player has to get their own creature. So I mean your opponents get advantage, but not when your creature enters.
Right.
They have to have their own. So they're not blinking as much as you.
Now,
but Genesis Chamber is solid.
I have heard some talk about Norrin the Wary with some stickers out there.
Yeah, I got to play against Rachel Weeks, and Norn got to 7/4.
Okay.
7/4 power and toughness,
Mm-hmm.
and then combine that with the
Warstorm Surge.
Warstorm Surged like effects. So Norn blinks out, power toughness stickers stay.
Right?
You know, so Totes Mick Goats MTG, if you are interested in adding stickers, and you also run
Warstorm
that type
Surge,
of effect,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's kind of cool too.
That's cool.
It's very cool. But I can't believe I really thought we were going to get through all these today.
Not even close.
No, we're not even close. So everybody, thank you so much for sending in all of these decks. It really does give me a lot of perspective into what other people are playing and
what their favorite cards
and
are,
what their
too.
favorite cards are. Like the Arcadia's Downfall, so cool. I like the energy tap with the Miriam Sentinel deck. Oh my god.
Yeah, City of Shadows, brand new card I learned about today. Pretty cool.
Yeah, well, very old card. New to
New to me, new to my brain.
From the dark, so long ago. Everybody, thank you so much for sending these in. If you want to find us, you can find us on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Andy Flory.
And I'm on Twitter at Wormcoil.
And we're on the Hive at Guardian Project.
Yes.
Now.
So
go find us there.
on the Hive. I have a homework task to make my own personal account over on the Hive. So add me once I'm there. And like always, we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.